Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to install OpenVPN server on a Raspberry Pi, allowing you to build a secure, private VPN and access your home network from anywhere. I'll walk you through each step clearly so you can set it up easily. First, let's take a look at the diagram to understand how the OpenVPN system works. Here, the Raspberry Pi acts as the OpenVPN server connected to your home network through the router. From the internet, devices like laptops, phones, or PCs, referred to as OpenVPN clients, will connect to your home network through your public IP or DDNS address. The router forwards the 1194 UDP port to the Raspberry Pi to allow VPN connections. Once connected, all client devices can securely access your internal network as if they were physically connected to your home LAN. Next, we will connect to your Raspberry Pi via SSH. You can use a tool like PuTTY on Windows, or simply use the terminal on macOS and Linux. Next, we're going to check the IP address of the Raspberry Pi. You should assign a static IP address to your Raspberry Pi to make sure it always keeps the same IP after every reboot. Next, we need to identify the public IP address of the network where your Raspberry Pi is connected. This is the address that your devices from outside the internet will use to connect to your OpenVPN server. Next, you should register a dynamic DNS account. It automatically updates your new public IP and links it to a fixed hostname. With this, whether your network uses a dynamic or a static IP, your OpenVPN clients will always connect correctly to your Raspberry Pi. Next, log into your router and set up dynamic DNS. This ensures that the router automatically updates your latest public IP to the DDNS service whenever the IP changes. Next, we're going to open port 1194 on your router or firewall. Depending on your router model, look for the settings section named Firewall, NAT, or Port Forwarding. Here, create a forwarding rule for port 1194 UDP and point it to the Raspberry Pi's IP address. This step allows OpenVPN clients from the internet to connect directly to your OpenVPN server. Alright, everything is now ready. Now let's go back to the Raspberry Pi and start installing OpenVPN. First, we're going to update the system's package repository to make sure the Raspberry Pi has the latest package information. Next, we will install the necessary packages before setting up OpenVPN. Next, download an automated OpenVPN installation script from a trusted developer. This script will help us quickly set up the server, generate certificates, and configure the VPN without much manual work. After downloading, we will run this script to start the installation of an OpenVPN server on the Raspberry Pi. The script will automatically download and install all the necessary packages for OpenVPN. At this point, simply press Enter to continue. Next, press Enter to confirm that you have set a static IP address for your Raspberry Pi. Next, press Enter to proceed. Next, select the user account you are currently using on the Raspberry Pi and press Enter to continue. At this step, select OpenVPN and press Enter to continue. This will specify the type of VPN that the script will install on your Raspberry Pi. At this point, select No to keep the default settings and press Enter to continue. Next, keep the default port 1194 that we have opened on the firewall or router and press Enter to continue. Next, choose the DNS server you want to use for OpenVPN. Here, I selected Google DNS to ensure speed and stability when accessing the internet through the VPN. At this point, you should use dynamic DNS to configure a domain name for your Raspberry Pi, allowing you to easily connect to the OpenVPN server even if your public IP address changes. Next, enter your domain name that you have configured for dynamic DNS so the script can use it in the OpenVPN configuration. Press Enter to continue. Okay, we have now successfully installed the OpenVPN server on the Raspberry Pi. Select Yes to restart the system, applying all OpenVPN settings and ensuring the server runs smoothly after installation. Select OK to restart immediately, and the Raspberry Pi will reboot, applying all the OpenVPN configurations you have just set up. After the reboot, reconnect to the Raspberry Pi to continue with server management and create VPN accounts for client devices. Now, check the status of the OpenVPN service to ensure the server is running properly and ready to accept connections from client devices. Now, we will create the first client profile. Next, enter the profile name you want for the client. Next, set the number of days until this profile expires. Here I keep the default setting. Next, set a password for your profile. This password will protect and enhance security when the client connects to the OpenVPN server. Okay, we have now successfully created a client profile. Additionally, you can create a password-free profile by adding the No Pass option when creating the client. This allows the client device to connect without entering a password, which is convenient but less secure. Next, navigate to the directory where the profiles are stored to check the configuration files we just created. Here, you will see the profile files we just created stored in this directory. These files will be used on client devices to connect to the OpenVPN server, providing secure access to the virtual private network. We have now successfully created the profiles. Next, we will use WinSCP to download these profiles and use them on client devices to connect to the OpenVPN server. Enter the IP address and username of your Raspberry Pi. In the right-hand menu of WinSCP, navigate to the directory where the profiles are stored. Okay, now you just need to retrieve these configuration files from the Raspberry Pi and set them up on the clients. This will allow client devices to securely connect to the OpenVPN server. Next, check out the video in the description to set up the OpenVPN client on Windows, Linux, or smartphone. If you find it helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to support me. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.